You can see the silver bar. I think you can see my marker right there, just to the right of the craft above it. You see this craft is maneuvering around, and just behind it, at about 10:30 or 11 o'clock, there's another little silver ball following this particular craft. You have a shadow down in here from where the sun is. One of the interesting things about this, if people don't realize, it's only 3.5 feet in diameter. That's 36 inches. This small craft. There are no little people in this. Again, here's a craft maneuvering. Notice the little antenna on top, and there's a silver ball out about 11 o'clock behind it. Here's the craft again coming in a little closer, and a silver ball directly above it. Notice the shadow on the ground. Maybe we can zoom in and isolate this craft and silver ball. Here's a small monitoring craft hovering. Have a silver ball directly above it. The shadow on the ground. Again, there are no people inside this craft. It is strictly a monitoring device, 36 inches in diameter. It sends information, air samples, soil samples, back to the mothership. It's more or less like a probe. How the silver balls that are around it, which you'll see more shortly, operate and how they deal with it, we were unable to find out. One of the interesting things with Paul Villa was that over the 8 years that he corresponded with my father and given the information on his craft, some things he just was not told, or they told him he would not understand. Now here's the craft coming in for a landing. Paul said it hovered, and just as it was hovering, the tripod legs, landing gear, shot straight down out of this craft. Directly above it, if we can get in and isolate this, you can see a ball directly above it. Off to the left about 10 o'clock and one about 9 o'clock, the silver ball in the sky. But the most interesting thing about this craft, which a lot of people said, oh, this is all phony and stuff, is remote control. Well, of course it's remote control because it was done by this mother spaceship. Right underneath it, directly underneath the craft, at the bottom of the frame, is the dust being kicked up from the turbulence of this electromagnetic force field from this small craft. Very, very similar, or the exact same thing to the previous craft that Mr. Villa photographed, where it caused problems and created a fire. And also, if you can think back to the Mr. Rex Heflin photograph from California, where underneath the craft on the shoulder road, the dirt and dust were being kicked up. There are no people in this craft, strictly a monitoring device. Here's the craft on the ground. And while it's sitting there, there's a ball directly above it. Same steel ball, about 10:30. There's another ball just hovering there in the sky. Mr. Villa went in, got a little closer. Or should I say a lot closer? Villa got even closer. See the perfect machinery done on this particular craft, the way these extraterrestrial beings really know how to make equipment. This is as close as Paul got, and his camera went out of focus. You've reached that point with all cameras. Unless you have macro lenses, which he did not have on his camera. He used a Ricoh camera for all his photographs, R-I-C-H-O, C-O-H, Ricoh. Again, Paul was contacted by the extraterrestrial beings, and they told him where to go outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico again. And he went out, parked his car, and went to the designated spot as they told him. And when they explained to him with the directions where to go, it was exactly to the exact spot and where to stand to do his photographs. And as Paul got out there and he walked around, and he got to the spot, this craft was just sitting there hovering on its side now. Not normal. This is not a normal. It's a convex lens shape. The three ball-type things on the bottom are the landing gear that the tripod-type legs come out from the bottom of the craft, and that's the balls that set on the ground. This craft, Paul was told, is 300 feet in diameter. And while Paul was standing there, and he was receiving this information through the voices that were coming to him, two small craft, like we previously saw, monitoring craft, left this particular mothership and took off. And then Paul was told, it was like a couple minutes later, Paul was told, take a photograph as you see us right now, and he snapped a picture, and he didn't know what was going on until later. But when he analyzed the photographs, they told him to analyze the pictures when you're done and look at the clouds. What they did, the two small monitoring discs went up and sculpted an American Indian reclining in the clouds. To the left, you can see the feather, you can see his forehead, you can see his nose, his mouth, his chin, down to his neck, down his chest. He's laying in a prone position with his hands folded. They had quite an affection for the American Indian, keepers of the planet. The craft maneuvered. Paul got nervous. As you can see, he jiggled the camera in his movement, snapped a photograph. The Indian's feather is beginning to smoke and the clouds dissipating. Clouds don't last long in their formations, as you all know. If you've ever looked at a cloud formation that you like, they don't last. The craft is getting into a maneuvering position. It's on edge towards Paul. The craft turned upside down, as we call upside down, because you can see an antenna protruding out, and zoomed off at such a high rate of speed, and that's one of the reasons, the condition of the photograph that was heading up to take off. The Indian is completely gone from the clouds. Does not exist. Dissipated into the atmosphere. This is the last of the series of photographs that Paul Villa ever did, at least to our knowledge that he ever did. He was told to, we're going to come around the house this time and see how he lived. Again, this is a very small monitoring craft, 36 inches in diameter, and as Paul was climbing around, and this small craft was just running around or floating around and flying around his home where he lives at in Albuquerque, where he did live in Albuquerque. And he snapped this photograph of that same small craft and maneuvering around some of the old cars he had laying around the yard. Here we can isolate this. And here's the craft hanging over one of his old pickup trucks. Again, this is 36 inches in diameter, 3 feet around. There are no people in it. It's a completely sealed monitoring probe type of craft. And here's the craft again. It was sort of like playing with Paul, cat and mouse, just flying around as he would take pictures of it. There were a lot more to the series, and I just edited down, put these few in here. They came home. They came to his house. Just see him. Not a photograph of a flying saucer on the right-hand side. That is the moon. It's a cover-up. This was a cover of Life magazine, 1965, after the blackout. And in the upper left-hand corner is what this is all about. That's a large, large mothership. The caption says it's a light streak or a jet trail is what the official word was from corresponding with the Life magazine editors. And you do not get a jet trail at night. Prior to the blackout, 3 different couples in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania, in different areas and at different times, contacted